I married the man who destroyed my life, and on our wedding day, I had already written his ending. Everyone thought I loved him to the point of losing my mind. No one knew this marriage had been a trap from the very beginning. They watched me smile as we exchanged rings, never realizing I was counting down to his collapse. That day was not a beginning. It was the slow arrival of an ending I had already set in motion. I first met him at a funeral in Chicago. The air was heavy, suffocating, like the room itself refused to breathe. The woman in the casket was the only person I had ever truly trusted, Claire Dawson. Her smile still lived in my memory. She wasn't supposed to die, but she did quietly, cleanly, like the world had erased her without resistance. Everyone called it an accident. No one asked why. Standing in front of me was her husband, Daniel Hayes. He looked composed. Too composed. No grief, no confusion, no collapse. That was the moment something felt wrong. Not her death, but the way everyone responded to it. When the police questioned us, every time I tried to speak, someone interrupted. They said I was emotional, that I must have remembered things wrong, that everything had already been confirmed. Daniel's parents stood nearby, tense but expectant, like they were waiting for a specific answer. They weren't worried about the truth. They were worried about the story. So I smiled, and I said nothing unusual happened. The room relaxed instantly. Even the officers softened. That was when I knew this wasn't coincidence. It was coordination. So I made a decision. I told them I wanted to marry Daniel. They were shocked, disgusted, amused. They called me unstable, desperate, pathetic. I didn't explain. Their misunderstanding was exactly what I needed. After the wedding, I became everything he expected. Quiet, attentive, obedient. I learned his routines, matched his moods, avoided conflict. I took care of the house, his parents, every detail of his life. No matter how cold or dismissive they were, I never reacted. Over time, they stopped seeing me as a person. I became part of the background. Daniel started showing me off. He called me the perfect wife, easy to control, no trouble at all. Every time he said it, I smiled, because the more confident he became, the closer he moved toward the end I had prepared. I began documenting everything. His temper, his habits, his weaknesses, how he drank when stressed, how he lashed out when cornered, how desperate he became when he needed to win. Greed, ego, impulsiveness. None of it would destroy him immediately, but all of it would matter at the right moment. At the same time, I quietly built connections outside our home. I took a tutoring job in Boston. My student was a troubled teenager, Ethan Cole, angry, withdrawn, distrustful of everyone. He tested me constantly. Silence, sarcasm, resistance. I didn't push him. I let him see pieces of myself. Instead, not explanations, not advice, just truth. Slowly, he started talking, and once he trusted me, I knew I could influence him when it mattered. One day, I said something simple. Claire's death wasn't an accident. He froze, not shocked, afraid. I didn't explain. I only added, someone could have saved her that day. That was enough. Doubt began to grow. Not certainty, not clarity, just enough uncertainty to make him question everything. That was all I needed. I didn't go to the police. I didn't expose anyone. That would have ended things too quickly. I wanted them to reveal themselves. I wanted to see who they really were when the pressure built. So I started creating opportunities. Small ones, believable ones. I fed Daniel information carefully, made him think luck was finally on his side, guided him just enough that every decision felt like his own. He became addicted to it. The possibility of winning, of proving himself, of getting more. He grew impatient, reckless, blind, and I stood beside him, encouraging him at exactly the right moments. Every step he took was his choice, but every path was mine. He never doubted me. To him, I was just a dependent wife, someone who didn't think, didn't question, didn't resist. That belief was his final mistake. The day he left for his opportunity, I helped him pack, checked his documents, planned his route, reminded him of details, like someone who truly cared. He was confident, certain this would change everything. He told me when he came back, our lives would be different. I nodded, smiled, watched him leave, and felt nothing, because I knew some decisions don't have a return. At first, his messages were confident, then uncertain, then unstable. Things weren't going the way he expected. For the first time, he realized he might have made a mistake. He asked me for help. His words carried something new. Fear. I read every message, then deleted them all, as if they never existed. After that, I walked into a police station, played the role perfectly. A worried wife, anxious, cooperative, harmless. No one questioned me. To them, I was just another bystander caught in a bad situation. No one understood none of this was accidental. Every step had been planned. He lost everything, his reputation, his future, his chances, and I never pushed. I only guided. From the moment I said, I want to marry him, it was already over. This marriage was never a beginning. It was the ending I chose for him. And the truth was never spoken. Because some truths don't need words. They only need time to let people destroy themselves.